We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to service us. Resistance is futile.
Hello there, viewers. Welcome back to the Hit or Miss Star Trek podcast for yet another episode in this second season dealing with the Borg and advanced AI. We are dealing with the Borg and specifically with 7 of 9 again this week after the last episode dealt with Stardust City Rag. We're going a bit backwards, weirdly, but we're going from Picard to Voyager. And as per usual, I'm joined by a very special guest and another returning guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you all now.
Yay, I'm back. I'm Linda. Linda's back.
Yeah. Welcome back, Linda Butler, who joined me for a Lower Decks review early in Series 1. So it's been a while, but looking forward to reviewing a longer length, more serious episode of Trek with you. So.
Yep.
Awesome. You've had quite a busy last couple of days at time of recording as well, yeah?
Yes. Well, yesterday was Dublin Comic Con, and it was the first one in 3 years or 2.5 or whatever it is. Yeah. So yeah, we had March 2020 booked and we were all excited and ready to go, and up to the week of it we were still planning to go, even though COVID was kind of taking over, and we were like
never.
It'll be fine, it'll be grand. No, it didn't happen.
Yeah,
so
my brain still thinks it is 2020, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So we were just happy to go to something that we have a ticket for, that kind of way. We didn't really care about the guests. We were just like, we're going to something.
I remember how excited I was just to get back at the cinema. It's like, yay, I'm out of the house. Woo.
I know, look at me doing stuff.
I can be social. I never could before, but why that stuff,
Yeah.
Awesome. So did you have a good time at the Dublin Comic Con anyway?
Yes, it was great to see all the cosplayers back. I didn't stress myself out doing anything crazy cosplay wise. I just wore a simple kind of a stealth reference to Assassin's Creed that nobody recognized, so that was okay. I knew what I was.
I saw one of your videos from the event and I noticed that your two little ones have taste. They were dressed as Spider-Man and Superman, so they got my vote because those are my two faves.
Yeah, and then my eldest was actually, he was very specific. He was based on Lego Peter Parker from Far From Home. And he wasn't based on the movie version, but the Lego version, which was a tiny bit different.
That is some quality level of geekery that they've already started with there. Like,
I know.
not the video, not the movie, but the tie-in game.
Exactly, tie-in, toy. Yeah.
Love it. Oh well, that's fair enough. Well, so you're all rested and ready to start talking some Trek with us today, then, anyway.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't say rested, but yeah, let's go with this.
Well, let's get going.
Let's do it.
So just in case we have any new listeners, this podcast does break down into sections. We'll hit them as we go and get to them, so don't worry if you feel lost. It's fairly self-explanatory, and Linda knows already what to expect because she's been here before. So without any further ado, I will jump into section number 1, and that's the section that I call Hailing Frequencies Open.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Excuse me. So what this was, basically in the first series, it was basically an opportunity to get to know some of my guests and know some of their favorite things in the Trek world as a kind of icebreaker. But obviously we've already done that. So for any returning guests this season, I'm having to find a new sort of question to just drop on them that they may not be prepared for. So apologies in advance if that is you, Linda, and you're freaked out by this. But rather than asking your kind of what we did in the last time, we asked your top Trek episodes and things like that. So what I was going to do this time is to ask you what would be your 3 favorite or best characters from anywhere in the Trek franchise.
Oh, okay. Data.
Data
Hasn't
come up yet, and I'm surprised about that, actually.
Really?
Yeah, really.
God. 7, and I'm not just saying that because it was a 7 episode. I think I've probably based my personality in my 20s and 30s on 7. I'm just like,
it's not good.
I don't. No. I'm like, she's kind of semi-Vulcan. Why am I bothering with this crap, this is irrelevant. This is irrelevant. This is,
Oh yeah, as
So-
we'll get into, I'm sure, on the episode, it very much does start off with, "What are you doing this for? This is a
I know,
waste
yeah.
of
What
time."
art smart? But yeah, that's 2. Is it 3? I have to
3, please,
Okay,
yeah, and then just
3,
some
okay.
reasons why, if you don't mind.
Now,
Yeah.
and Data and Seven are basically the same. I'm so disappointed in myself, but I won't say Spock because that would just be like the 3 most similar characters.
If you pick Odo instead, I'm just going to take issue with that because they are the same person just all the way through.
Oh my god. Oh no. Oh crap. I haven't. This is unfair of you because even though there's like hundreds of characters, I'm gone blank. But I'm going to go with Captain Freeman.
Oh wow, okay, what an unusual choice from Lower Decks.
Cerritos, yeah, because she is badass and she's funny. I like Captain Freeman.
That's fair enough. I personally would have went for one of the Lower Decks crew myself, but that's fair enough. I just love Mariner and Boimler, to be honest.
Yeah, no, they're obvious choices, but yeah, Captain Freeman, you don't realize how cool a captain she is because you're distracted by all the terrible ensigns that are bad at their jobs.
That's fair enough. That's cool. Yeah. Well, she is part of the kind of legacy of Star Trek captains, animated or not. So why not? Awesome. That's fair enough. That's some good reasoning then. So, is there any deeper reasons why you've picked those characters, or just that they represent your kind of lack of wanting to socialize or things, maybe?
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah. Well, no, we do joke, but yeah, no, Data was a real savior. When I was a loner teenager, Data came along, I was like, yeah, I would hang out with him and we would both be loners together, even though it makes no sense. Yeah. So they speak to me.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've always been the same, and I think I would probably pick Spock amongst mine for similar reasons that I've always, when I was younger, I did kind of feel like a little bit of an outsider and a little bit of struggling to fit in with this kind of the emotions of people and understand them, I guess. So,
totally. And even to this day, I channel, my inner Vulcan, and I just try
of course.
Be a Vulcan. Yeah, suppress all those emotions. Don't deal with anything. Just suppress it.
Again, not the healthiest thing to do, perhaps.
No.
Oh well, fair enough. That's pretty cool. And that's 3 fairly succinct characters, even though 2 of them are more or less the same person. But Captain Freeman, just for being such a badass, as you say, and underappreciated maybe as well.
Yep.
So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I stand by those.
Awesome. That's fair enough. Just before I move to the next section, I meant to ask you actually in the introduction, the introductory chat, have you had a chance to watch any of the new season of Star Trek Discovery yet?
Nope, it is unavailable in the Republic of Ireland, so I have not seen it.
That was made me so mad when I heard that, but not just you guys, of course, because there's various other places. But I was like,
some countries. So yeah, usually things are UK and Ireland because we're the same kind of region. We're English speaking Western Europe, but Ireland has been cast aside. We don't have that Pluto app thing unavailable in our so. Nope,
if you're listening, Paramount, come on, get your fingers out. Series is almost over now. Come on.
And what I'm dreading, because Picard is still up on Amazon. We're getting Picard, so I'm just dreading if Picard and Discovery have this big crossover later in the season or something, and I don't understand what's happening.
They've only got 2 episodes left to do it, if it is, but I thoroughly doubt it. I mean,
or even a reference, or I would be so annoyed. But I'm already annoyed.
Yeah, it's understandable. I don't think there's been anything that I can really I mean, there is back references and things, but not like time sensitive, if you know what I mean. So
that's okay.
Because obviously there's references to things in Discovery season 3 that we know of from their past, but anyway, I'm skirting around not wanting to hit any spoilers for season 4. I'm like, that was like 8 weeks ago, but also, no, never mind. You still wouldn't have seen it, so never mind. Have you managed to successfully avoid spoilers and stuff until now?
Yeah, I have actually cleared my social media of all Trek apart from Twitter. So what I do on Twitter is I just stick to my own page, and then I go onto the trending page, and I just stick with like politics and current affairs and all that exciting stuff, So
I'd rather see the spoilers, to be honest.
I've no meme content. I just feel like such an idiot. Just not like I'm kind of peeking through my fingers sometimes. I go on the homepage and I'm like, oh my Dad, look at this, and I just throw my phone away.
It's weird because there hasn't really been that much spoilers of Discovery that I've noticed, and ever since Picard started last week, it's all been about that. So nobody's talking about Discovery really. So,
that's good. Good.
Yeah. I do hope you get a chance to see it soon, though, just so you can judge it for yourself and stuff.
Yeah, I want to see it. I can't bear that there is Star Trek out there that I can't. That just right there. And
tell me about it.
And what's so annoying is that I have no idea when or if I will ever be able to see it. Like, where the hell is this Paramount Plus? Well, I know that I will eventually, but we don't have a date yet, do we?
This is the thing. I was discussing this with DK in the last episode, and I said it's frustrating because they kept on saying it was coming, at some point before like spring of this year, and now they just keep on saying it's delayed and delayed. And I was like, we've got nowhere to watch Strange New Worlds, and I'm just going to be so annoyed because they're not going to let it go to Amazon or something. So that's going to be horribly spoiled and everything as well.
God damn it! Well, as long as I still have Lower Decks on Prime, then I'll be okay.
So you probably haven't seen Prodigy yet either, then?
Nope. Prodigy as well, and my kids, I try not to even mention it because it would make them very sad. They were very excited for that, and I don't know what to tell them.
I do think, as I say, I think I mentioned last week, I think I remember seeing somewhere that it was about to debut in the next couple of months on Nickelodeon here.
Oh, that is what I'm holding out for. Yeah, Nickelodeon will be class. Yeah.
It is definitely going there because they part financed it and it's labeled as their show. So
I know, so it was exclusive to Paramount, then delayed release kind of thing. Yeah. So
yeah. But definitely annoying that there's a lot of Trek content at the moment that we can't see, but at least we're able to watch Star Trek Picard, so make the most of that.
Yep.
Do you have any quick, preferably spoiler-free as possible thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Picard then?
Not really. I'm gonna just wait and see what's going on. Oh God. No, I'm not gonna get all negative, but I'm just gonna wait and see.
Are you not a fan so far then?
I don't like the character of Q anyway.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was disappointed that they that he's in it. But I am of an open mind and I'm going to go with it.
That's unusual to hear that somebody doesn't like Q. I think he's a popular character. It's weird.
But, I don't know. I haven't met many people who don't like him, but I just don't like him. He's just slimy, and I don't like watching him on screen.
Oh, fair enough. That's okay. But at least he wasn't in it much. I would say maybe in that case. But yeah, I'm liking this already a lot better than I liked season 1, which I just wasn't.
Oh, well, there is that. Yeah, no, I do. I think I'm enjoying this a bit better. And yeah, there's some cosplay things popping up that I'm extremely interested in. So always.
Don't tell me you're going to cosplay the evil ones and stuff.
They're the best ones. The evil empires have the best fashion taste. Like, come on.
Ridiculously oversized com badge. I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
Never mind. Oh well, that's fair enough. But I'm hopeful that the answers are going to be as good as the mystery for this one. But
exactly.
That's fair enough. Well, in that case, I'll move us on then to the next section. And as you know from the last time, this is called the hit or miss section.
What about my performance?
I'm not a drama critic.
So yeah, that is basically where I will fire out to my guest this week. Is you, obviously, Linda, random things, probably about 6 or 7 things at most from the Trek universe, and ask if you think they're a hit or a miss, and a little bit of a reason why, and then we can debate back and forth if we disagree, which rarely happens, but does on occasion. So yeah, these are just completely random things that I wrote down, just a big list of about 100 random items before I started recording the series, and was like, yeah, I'll just ask about these. There's no rhyme or reason. I tried to fit in a good few that might fit into the kind of Borg and AI theme, but I think I'm running low on them, but you might see a couple that fit that. And so the first thing on the list for this week is kind of related to the advanced AI, and it's V'Ger from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Is it a hit or a miss?
Now, I've probably seen that movie 2 times ever.
Wow, really?
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna. Is there an in between?
Well, I mean, if you want to, I'm certainly not going to be able to. No, you must decide one way or the other. So yeah, you can say middle of the road, maybe. But yeah.
I'll just say hit to be nice. I have no strong feelings. No strong feelings.
That's fair enough. See, I'd personally say it's a bit of a miss. I really like the idea, but it does seem. It's a little bit derivative of the whole nomad that we just talked about a few weeks ago from the episode The Changeling, the merging with an alien probe and then wanting to sterilize Earth and stuff. So they've kind of done that part before, and you can kind of tell, or I can tell, that it's not super developed, the script for the motion picture. So V'Ger as an idea doesn't get all that well developed. It's just kind of, it's cloaked in vagary, and it tries to do that sci-fi thing of, no, you are not supposed to understand this, to get around the fact that it just, it doesn't make a lot of sense really. But having said that, I think it's a soft miss, because I do at least like the reveal at the very end and the whole idea of why it's called V'Ger and what it actually was and stuff. It was a cool way of doing that reveal, and it was nifty.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, one soft hit and one soft miss. So I think we're both pretty much middle of the road.
Yeah.
About that, which is probably what you could say about that film overall in a lot of ways. But, at least we got Wrath of Khan afterwards, anyways.
That made up a lot of stuff.
It did, yeah. I mean, it kickstarted the movies properly. Not that I hate the motion picture; it's not my worst thing ever. But and the director's cut, it's an improvement if anybody hasn't seen it. But okay. The second thing on the list for today then is the character Chakotay. Would you say he is a hit or a miss?
Ooh, I am gonna say a miss. I'm gonna say a miss. When I first watched Voyager, we were like, oh no, a Chakotay episode. He's so boring. We did not enjoy Chakotay episodes. And if you ever watch an episode of Voyager, he's really just there for Janeway to, fire the exposition. He's an exposition type. But how are you going to do that, Captain? And Janeway, he's just a yes, ma'am. He doesn't have much to do. And then the Chakotay episodes are bad. They're bad episodes. The boxing one.
That was terrible. Yeah, I was just trying to. The only one that sprung to my mind was the episode Nemesis, and I was going to be like, well, that's a really good episode. But I was like, that is literally the only Chakotay episode that I can think of that was good. And you mentioned the fight, and that is one of the worst episodes of any Trek ever.
Oh God,
abysmal. Even like maneuvers and stuff is kind of boring. And anytime it got into just when it tried to delve into the deeply stereotypical, like, I am native heritage, here is your spirit animal, and
I won't even go into that with the whole the guy who they had as a consultant was a fraud, and So it's a big question mark for Chakotay. He's a dodgy character altogether.
I don't think he's the worst, but I would say the same with you. I would say it's a soft miss, because I don't think Beltran's a terrible actor. I think he did the best he could in a lot of cases. And there's some really good scenes that he gets with Janeway when they get to butt heads, in like Scorpion, for example.
He has his moments. Yeah.
Definitely. But as you say, the character as an overall is just very questionable, to say the least, anyway. And any character who gets focus episodes, and I can only name one in 7 seasons that was good, is not going to be a great character, unfortunately. We're going to get savaged by all the Janeway Chakotay shippers for this one.
Sorry, guys. No, I do not ship.
No, me neither. I've never really been that fussed about Janeway and Chakotay, to be honest. Never mind. Saying that, I would prefer them to Chakotay and Seven, which did come out of absolutely nowhere.
God, that came out of nowhere. What the hell?
After he spent 3 years of like, she'll never change, we should just kill her. then started basically, but no, maybe it's fine now. She's dating me,
Oh wait, this is different now. She fancies me.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I'll move to the next thing. It might be slightly less controversial. We shall see. And the next thing on my list is the Dots, the little advanced robots. And I can't remember the number, but specifically the ones from season 3 onwards that are like Dot 29.
Oh, Dot 7 and stuff. This is Discovery, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. No, they're a miss. I don't like them.
They kind of came out of nowhere as well, didn't they?
It was like, let's invent something cool right now that we've never seen. Okay, no, that's just everything Discovery. I can't say that. But what I mean is, no, it just feels like a suit with a cigar saying, "Oh, can we not have some little droidy things in this scene?" And then they have to invent a whole thing. And
It's the whole Star Warsization of it, isn't it? Like we need something that can be cute, like R2D2 or whatever.
I didn't want to say, but yeah, you were dead right. You're dead right. Exactly.
Yeah,
I
I noted that a lot about Picard. I said there's a lot of things in here which scream to me about an executive saying make him like that Han Solo guy, or make this like that Star Wars cantina, and
yeah,
like, no, they're not supposed to be the same thing. Just
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay, so you're going to say miss for the dots then?
Miss. Sorry, dots.
I would say miss for the .7s, which were the very first ones, because it made no sense to have them on like the original Enterprise and stuff, because they're way too advanced. But I don't mind the ones in the future, considering it's like the 32nd century. And I was like, if they just held out on having them, and then these were a cool new thing that was there when they got to the future, I'd be like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to say soft hit on that level, provided we just don't see them again in like Strange New Worlds and stuff. It's like they were always here, and you just didn't know it during Kirk's time and stuff. But
yeah, I don't know.
I have to shout out as well the short trek Ephraim and Dot, which is a cartoon, which almost single-handedly sold me on them because it's such a really cool cartoon.
Oh no, that's another thing I've never seen those either.
You've never seen it? Oh, that's
no, because they're the ones that went straight to Blu-ray for
they did.
Here, yeah, so I didn't buy the Blu-ray.
Oh well, you should. It's very good.
I know. I will.
Well, it'll probably be reduced by now anyway. At least grab it on DVD or something. But
get it on sale.
I
would
recommend it. Yeah, there's a couple of good sort of Strange New Worlds related ones like that deal with the Enterprise crew that are quite good as well on there. And,
I will definitely have a look at some point, but it just bypassed me because it wasn't available at the touch of a button. So
and it was weird that they didn't do that because Netflix put the first 4 on as extras and then just didn't bother with the second series of like 6 or whatever it was.
Yeah, and I get the feeling Netflix had no idea what was going on. They were like, "What season is this? What show is this? I don't know what this is. I don't want this. It's too weird."
Yeah, pretty much. Probably.
Yeah.
I think they also had it just yanked out of their hands by Paramount at the last minute.
Yeah.
So. We shall see. But anyway, so the next thing on the list then for today is from Lower Decks, quite appropriately for you. And,
I'm already going to say hit. Don't even say what it is. I hit the hit.
Well, it was the character of Lieutenant Shax.
Oh, massive hit. He's amazing. Shax, yes. Big bear.
Don't talk to me. I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
He's the angry Bajoran. I love an angry Bajoran because Bajorans are so peaceful and but he's bad. He's nice. I like him.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I think I love the character. I love the humor of it. I didn't love the plot they did about like him being killed off and then just coming back a few episodes later and never explaining it. I know it was played for laughs, but no, I was just like, this is not. It's just not funny.
Oh no, I just disagree with that. I thought
it messes with my head a little bit too much. I'm like, but how? And plus, I just felt like stupid being fooled because I was convinced that they had killed that character off and was like, all right, they're introduced, especially when they introduced the what do you call those guys? The literal the guys from Darmok. They introduced one of those guys that was a similar version, and I was like, oh, this is the replacement for Shax. What are they called? Tamaranians or something? I forget.
Oh, Tamarians, yeah.
Tamarians, that's the one. Man, I swear I do watch Star Trek at times. Yeah, but I'd say, I'd say hit, but other than that one little thing, but yeah, that actor and that character are really cool, and they use them really well. I think the one where they went and he was doing the pottery class to try and control his anger, it was pretty hilarious. Yeah,
I love
awesome.
Shax.
Great. Well, we'll see 2 hits in that one. In that case, then. The next thing I had on my list, I'm just going to not have to do because you won't have a clue about it, unfortunately.
Sorry.
Well, actually, you may be able to chime in on given your knowledge so far. So I'm just going to go ahead and try. So the next thing on my list was Zora from Discovery. Do you think she's a hit or a miss, bearing in mind, viewers?
Okay.
Anything to do with season 4?
Hit. I'm going to say hit.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's interesting.
Because I'm assuming you have seen what's it called, Calypso, the short track?
Calypso, yeah, that was it.
And you'll have seen
I
season 3
really loved Calypso.
It's very good. It's very like powerful, and it's hard to figure out where it fits into the timeline, but I almost don't care because it's just really well done short film, I guess. So
it's lovely.
Annabelle Wallis is really good as the voice of Zora.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. Yeah, I loved the voice. Yeah.
Cool. I know you're liking so far where you think it seems to be going in series 3 of Discovery with the reintroduction, I suppose, of or the introduction of that character.
Oh yes, season 3. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was nice, but then every time, oh no, I can't really talk about it too much, but every time there's a hint of calling back to Calypso, and then they don't do anything with it, I was getting a bit frustrated. So let's not talk about it anymore, though. Because
the thing that kind of bugs me is that they don't. Ever since they upgraded Discovery in season 3, Calypso can't really make a lot of sense, and they still haven't explained that. By the way, there's no spoiler there. It's just kind of hanging in the air, like, and
Well, that annoys me. That annoys me. Go back and fix that.
Yeah, I'm sure they must be prepared to do something or explain it in some way, I'm sure, but whatever it is, everyone's kind of headcanoning it. So
there was the whole first season of Short Treks where they said, don't worry, they're standalone, they have nothing to do with anything, so it's okay if you don't watch them. And then they literally all of them tied in.
I was going to say, well, the Runaway tied massively into the end of season 2. So.
Totally. And Saru's sister, you would have been like, the true. Yeah, so let's not believe anything that anyone tells us.
I never believe anything that corporations or actors tell me anyway. I knew Andrew Garfield was going to be in that Spider-Man film.
And no matter how many, like I desperately try to avoid the spoilers, and I had an inkling what was going on when I went to the cinema, but I was still a bit choked up when they all.
Oh, completely. Yeah, I mean, it's all in the delivery, of course it is. Yeah, but
it was
awesome.
Brilliant.
That's fair enough. Okay, I'll do one more then for today, if that's okay with you, because it's an episode, and the episode in question, if you can remember it, is the episode Collective from Voyager. Would you say that's a hit or a miss?
Collective. Which one is that?
That is the one where they first encounter the Borg kids that they ended up kind of adopting.
Ooh.
So they're on a damaged cube, and there's the one snotty kind of kid who wants to rule them all, and that's obviously they meet like Icheb and Mazzotti and Azan and Rebai and the baby that promptly disappeared the next episode and was never spoken of again.
Oh no. I don't remember the episode. I remember them being introduced and thinking, ugh, who are these annoying kids? Kids and Star Trek, I always go, ugh, the kids are annoying. Oh. And the kids are usually annoying,
There speaks a caring mum.
No, they cast them to be unrealistic. They're not like real children. So yeah, Star Trek kid episodes annoy me. I didn't like the Borg kids, so I'm going to assume that I did not enjoy that episode.
Yeah, well, obviously it hasn't stuck in the memory very well, so probably not. And if you didn't like those characters, I mean, it was literally just them, effectively, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so.
But I will say it is a good idea to go back and show us Borg children and what happens to children, and it was a nice idea.
I think that's why I would say it's a soft hit, because I just found I was fascinated by the fact that we'd done so much with 7 of 9 and like, oh, she had this splinter cell that had disconnected and she tried to reconnect them, and it never really dealt with the fact that she was assimilated as a child. So I think I was just intrigued of like, oh yeah, well, let's deal with what is this like for the children that have been taken, and what would it be like if they had ended up completely alone and there's been damage. And obviously it was cool kind of reasoning that we find out why in a later episode as well, that I've talked about before, Child's Play. It turns out that Icheb's parents had basically used him like a suicide bomber. Not cool, but but I thought
and I do remember 7 having to be all maternal, which I think really
that's where it
like
worked for me. It was a nice development for her character, and much as the main kind of head guy, as who was the antagonist, was annoying as heck, but I think that was the point, because he was supposed to be the voice that they had to kind of silence, I guess, that was representing the Borg. But the only other bugbear, as I say, is the annoying thing that there was literally a baby in a maturation chamber that they beamed over and made a big deal about the doctor, like, yeah, I've saved its life, it's amazing, and it was never heard from again. It's like, did you drop it off somewhere? What happened?
Oh, poor baby.
I'd love to go to this day.
Oh, we need a spin-off show for that baby.
The abandoned Borg baby.
Yeah.
Turns out they just left it on the doorstep of a space station somewhere and did off.
Rang the doorbell, beamed away.
He's yours. Oh,
Poor baby.
fair enough. That's cool. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think that was mainly, I think, largely positive with some fair enough criticisms. So that's a good place to conclude the hit or miss section, I think. And I'll move us on to the bulk of the episode, which is the episode review. As I said, this week it is The Raven from Voyager Season 4. And I will begin analysis. Excuse me. Before I get into kind of initial fast facts and stuff like I happen to do this series about these episodes, did you have any initial thoughts or kind of remembrances about this episode before you revisited it, Linda?
Yeah, no, it is one of my favorites of Voyager.
Okay.
I love 7 episodes. She's my, well,
More
I
than
already
Chakotay
said she's,
episodes, I guess.
yes, I already said she's one of my favorite characters, but I love her episodes. She's a great actress and she's just completely believable and she's very talented and I just love seeing her on screen.
Awesome. Yeah, fair enough. So you're obviously liking her in the Picard stuff then that she came back.
Yes, I love her.
Cool. She was great in this recent episode where
Yes,
in the
yes,
universe
yes.
she was never assimilated and stuff. Very cool.
Lovely,
Spoilers. But yeah, okay, cool. Well, so yeah, I'd say this series I'm just dealing with starting off with some fast facts about the episode and then seeing if that brings up any talking points. It may or it may not. The first thing that I noticed about this episode, which I hadn't remembered weirdly, was that it was directed by LeVar Burton, which, come on, of course it was great. It was directed by LaForge. Yep. So yeah, great work in this episode, I will say, though, because there are a lot of directorial touches, I think, that you genuinely notice, which isn't always the case because the director is supposed to be non-invasive, I suppose, in that way. But when you think he had to direct like the flashback hallucinations and the hallucinations of a bird and stuff and all of this bizarre trippiness, like he did a really, really good job with that. So kudos.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Fast fact number 2 was a little bit of quite a lot of information I found out about what the episode was going to be. Originally, the idea was very different. Brian Fuller, talking to Star Trek Magazine, recalled the first draft was called Resurrection, and it was all about 7 of 9 being resurrected as a Borg. The aliens de jure abduct her and tweak her, and essentially she goes on this mad killing spree. The first draft had all these huge chase sequences of the crew trying to get to her before she got to engineering to blow up the warp core, until this last final moment where she's crawling towards the core. Torres had essentially blown her legs off, and Janeway is saying, "Stop this," while 7 pleads, "Please kill me."
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It was ultimately decided by the show's writers that this story was soulless and needed to actually be about something rather than just mindless action and turning 7 into some unstoppable Terminator woman. So, Linda, are you gutted we didn't get that fantastic sounding episode?
That sounds amazing. I want to see it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure it would have been a better episode, but I definitely want to see that.
I don't think it would have been super appropriate for a family show by the sounds of it.
No,
you know? Sounds very dark, but I'm pleased they went into a bit more character depth, and they were right. It needed to be about something specifically, so what they hit on was good. Excuse me. And that relates to my third fast fact. Speaking of which is that Brandon Braga had a flash of inspiration for what to make this about when he was watching the movie Citizen Kane, with the image and idea of Rosebud replaced by a raven, and what that would ultimately be revealed to mean to 7 of 9. So we have, I suppose, obliquely, we've got Orson Welles to thank for actually having a bit of character depth.
Yeah, I did like what he did there. I did like that because then Janeway's realization moment is like, Rosebud, of course.
Very much. And I remember at the time thinking, oh, that's fabulous, because we are a step behind her as the audience until it's revealed. And then when it is, I was like, that is a really cool reveal of what that actually meant. So,
yeah,
awesome.
That's cool.
Fast fact number 4 was just something that I found out upon reviewing kind of how this episode was received by other people. It was said that many viewers believed Seven's self-examination in this episode and facing her inherently human nature was too soon in the character's evolution. Brian Fuller agreed that he thought the episode took her a bit far, and she was pulled back immediately after that because she became too vulnerable too fast, and they thought, oh God, we're blowing it, we have to mine this a little more. I would say I disagree. I was annoyed by the fact that she never got a chance to actually develop in the time she was on the show. That after this, they did pull her back, and it was completely just she had to remain stoic and not develop emotionally or anything in any kind of way. So I was also really grateful when Picard came, and I was like, oh, thank God she's developed. She's actually, grown a little bit as a person.
Yes. Yeah.
But I was intrigued as a fan of the character if you would disagree with me and think, no, it would be fair to mind that a bit more, or if you'd be a bit more on my side, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was, let's see, season 4 episode. It was episode 6 of season 4. So, no, I'm glad we got some development there. We needed to know her backstory. I'm glad we got the backstory. I'm glad we got some emotions, some humanity there. I don't remember what the 5 episodes, well, what the 3 or 4 episodes before that.
I do, because I watched series 4 a lot.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things. I mean, obviously the gift was the one that was like she was just getting de-assimilated, and that was in depth. But even then, I mean, the promise of the moment at the end of that episode where it was like the child you spoke of, her favorite color was red. It's like, oh, she's tapping back into her humanity. And the more they stepped away from that, the less I was interested, because I was like, you're never going to develop it.
I know. But then at the same time, you can, it's nice to have Seven. You can always rely on what she's, how she's going to react. I just love the Borg 7. I love the Borg 7. And like I said, I did base myself on Borg 7. I wouldn't have been that interested in Annika going full human immediately.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean,
but
it wasn't super interesting, even in Matrix Zero, for example, when she does just switch to full human, and it's kind of like, all right, a bit too much too soon. But I think, if anything, despite the flaws I have with the show, Picard shows you that you can develop her humanity and still have her be fundamentally the same character. It doesn't have to be a mutually exclusive kind of thing,
Yeah, and I loved, spoiler alert, but I loved the bit in Picard where she's, doing a kind of self-diagnostic.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I mean, she's intelligent. She wouldn't lose her, intelligence and her experience just because she tapped a bit more into some humanity. But anyway, I'll get into that when we deal with some things in the episode, I'm sure. But the next thing that I was writing down, and apologies if anybody feels like this is an attack on the episode, it's not. It's just, being a nerd, I do like to note the occasional continuity error and things. So I have noticed a couple of them. The first one, that there's a reversed stock shot of a Voyager shuttlecraft where the registry number is notably reversed in mirror image so that it reads a kind of glory 65647. And it's reused here. It was also used apparently in the episode Maneuvers. But I am going to pop a picture up because I did manage to get a screen grab when I was watching the episode. And yes, it is horribly noticeable that this image has just been flipped.
To be fair, in the 90s and noughties, nobody would have noticed. Everyone's TVs were,
that's
probably 14
true.
inch.
I mean, they did have videos, but it would be hard, I suppose, to get.
So they probably were like, let's flip it. No one's gonna notice. So they didn't think we would be, zooming in on massive screens in 2022 and go, hey, wait a second.
It was. I wasn't expecting to notice it. I was like, I'm not going to see anything if I don't notice it. But the fact was that I was able to pause it and then took a picture of my TV screen and was like, yeah, I feel like I've achieved something. Like I've discovered a cheat code because I found their mistake.
An Easter egg,
The only other thing is, this is really nitpicky, but it's just funny to me. According to the Doctor, this episode takes place 3 weeks after Seven's de-assimilation in the gift. He says it's been 3 weeks before she has to start eating food. However, later in the episode, Captain Janeway says that 7 of 9's been living in the cargo bay for 2 months.
Oh, for God's sake.
Little bit of a discrepancy there. We've lost 5 weeks somewhere.
That is what you get when you have a team of writers. You need to be on the same page, literally. Yeah. Oh well.
That does sometimes annoy me. I'm still annoyed about the fact that the Enterprise E has just, no one knows how many decks it has. It has 26 decks, then it has 24, then it has 27 at one point, and it's
God.
Side already. Yeah. That's famous with that one in First Contact when he says the Borg control deck's 26 up to 11, then he tells Lily the ship has 24 decks. So where are the other 2?
Oh dear.
Anyway, excuse me. So yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about is something that I've discussed at length. So again, apologies if it's annoying because I discussed this a lot during our review of Regeneration. But obviously this episode and a couple of other things in Voyager offer some continuity problems to the whole question of the Borg.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Initially, no explanation is offered as to how the Hansons got to the Delta Quadrant in a few years, but I will personally say that it is noted in a lot of places where they initially reviewed the episode, but it was answered in Dark Frontier. So that's one continuity thing I have no issue with because they did answer it. And if you watch the episode carefully, they do say that her parents were working on advanced stuff and things, so you could probably headcanon it away. So that one I'm not bothered about. But the episode, of course, is the first of several on both Voyager and Enterprise that contradict Q-Who. As well as statements made in Death Wish that support that episode, by establishing the Borg were well aware of humans and Starfleet years before Q apparently introduced Picard and crew to them. Obviously, Regeneration retroactively established at least some Borg knew humanity earlier, but the Borg Collective would not have this knowledge till the drones returned to Borg space centuries later. What a mess this became, really, didn't it? It's a shame because I really love the impact of Q-Who, but even within that episode, as people have rightly pointed out, they do say it's the Borg are the same people who have been scooping up places in the neutral zone for like a year. So they've been on their way anyway. I guess I can kind of forget, especially with the cleverness that the sort of predestination paradox they introduced in Regeneration of like they were on their way because they might have just finally received the signal, and I can get on board with that. But then you throw in, it turns out they'd assimilated some humans like 20 years beforehand as well, and it just becomes a very so it's 20 years ago she was assimilated. So that was 20 years, wasn't it? Didn't she say 20? Yeah, I mean, again, it's questionable. It's listed as being in 2250 something, but I did note that they foolishly in the last episode of Picard gave it a firm date and said she was assimilated in 2350, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Unfortunately, they really shouldn't have committed to that. But
oh God. Anyway, I know. I do like to nitpick, but it would break your brain.
It does eventually, but again, this is it's nitpicky, but it's just kind of, I suppose it's annoying for the impact it lessens on Q-Who, but at the same time, that had already kind of happened. So I just felt like I should bring it up because somebody in the comments or something would be like,
"Oh yeah,
I didn't like this plot because it ruined the Borg or whatever," but it didn't, and it's in service of character, so let it go, you know. So in my head canon, as I said during the Regeneration review, Starfleet aren't stupid enough to have just lost all this information after 200 years. So they just kept it secret about the Borg and only told a few people. And the Hansons weren't scientists. They were secretly spies who were sent to get information about the Borg.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's literally no points to that, but it's my head canon.
She didn't know what they were doing, that they were just doing very important work. She didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't even tell her.
Precisely. Just before I get into the episode then properly, where do you stand on this idea about how bad of a parent or how bad parents they were taking their 5-year-old daughter along on this mission? Because a lot of people in my social media were not happy with them for this.
Oh yeah, no, terrible. But did they? Because how long did it take them to get to the Delta Quadrant? She was only 6.
You find out in Dark Frontier it was almost instant because they just basically snuck behind a Borg cube too close and got sucked into a transwarp corridor.
Okay, so they brought her. Yeah. Okay. So they were like, let's go examine the most dangerous species we've ever encountered, and let's bring our kid for the lols.
Yeah, I do remember there's literally a line in Dark Frontier where the Doctor says that because Janeway's like, the Hansons were great explorers. They were great people. And the Doctor's like, most great explorers don't take their 5-year-old daughter along for the ride. I'm like, it's true. They were terrible parents when you think about it.
Yeah, totally.
I do remember there was one person in my comments that was like, they had no one to leave her with. I was like, and find someone. Hire a babysitter for crying out loud.
I know, right?
So you wouldn't take your kids to meet the most deadly, horrible cyborg race in the universe then?
I mean, I wouldn't. That's just me.
Then you're a better parent than Erin Hansen. Hear that, Erin? From your Borg cube, wherever you are somewhere. And they must have had some knowledge that the Borg were actually in the vicinity. They could have put her in some emergency bunker or something, but no, she was just running around the bridge. This is all to do with Dark Frontier, which I should really have reviewed. But yeah, they were beaming Borg on board and experimenting on them and stuff, and then beaming them back when they were finished.
That's right. They were probably like, Annika, go and play in your room for a couple of hours.
Thinking along, watching them, like, I wonder what that deadly thing is that looks horrible.
Terrible
parenting.
Terrible.
they had a cool ship, so we'll forgive them, I guess.
Yes, it was cool. Yeah.
It is. I've put a picture of it on my little image here because it's my model that I got off Eagle Model.
I see it. Yeah, that's snazzy.
The Raven model. It's very good.
I'm glad they were assimilated.
Yeah, those parents deserved it. Anyway, I'll get into the episode properly then because we've rambled a bit much of nerdiness, but it's what we're here for. So there we go. As you know, we basically, I'm just going to hit the episode chronologically and hit some key scenes and things and try to not to spend too long on every minute detail. But if there's anything I missed that you wanted to chime in with, feel free, Linda.
Yeah, go first.
Yeah. So obviously it starts with the pre-credit sequence, which is the return of the Da Vinci holoprogram, only without him there because they probably couldn't afford John Rhys Davies this week. First thing to note is that 7 of 9 actually has a new outfit, replacing the horribly impractical, we want to get male viewers on board silver catsuit that they put her in for like 2 weeks.
and the brown was fine, but not much better. not much
the
better.
Blue one was probably my favorite. The was bluish and grayish is probably my favorite of the ones they let her be in. So
yeah.
Until
the lovely blue science uniform that she had for a couple of
one episode in relative.
One episode. Yeah.
So I think it's another thing where they've improved it in Picard, haven't they? By giving her actual clothes,
Yes, and it's so much better. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. She rocks that leather jacket, I tell you. So, awesome. I did say in this scene, I really liked the use of Janeway as the kind of mother mentor figure for humanity, which is obviously what they're going for. So as we talked about before, she's kind of teaching her, she's getting 7 out of the mindset of like the Borg being all Dilbert cubicle workers and like, no, this recreation is irrelevant. We are not efficient or whatever.
Yeah, she's actually giving 7 a mindfulness lesson, which is cool.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered, but yeah, you're absolutely right. But she's right though. Janeway is right that it depends how you look at it, and it helps her stimulate her imagination and relax and free herself from the burdens. And I like that, But I did say, the Borg being all about efficiency and not having any time for recreation means that they probably have assimilated a couple of former managers of mine, by the sound of things. Yeah,
totally.
I love how kind of funny Jerry Ryan is in these scenes in her innocence, because it's like you said, she just seems like she's CBA, shall we say, with Janeway's nonsense. And it's like, try something with the nose. Plop. Happy.
She is, and she is so not bothered. She's poking it, going, "What the hell are we doing this for?"
She even gives it like Spock eyebrow at one point, like, "No, try doing something." What?
I love it.
And this is obviously where we get our first hallucinations from the lovely concerning flight foreshadowing that we get when she sees Da Vinci's flying machine. Sets up a future episode and this one. So there we go. And those hallucinations and stuff, those vivid images, they are nightmarish. I was surprised on revisiting this episode just how kind of scary and intense they were, because my memory of them wasn't that bad.
They were scary. And then and then later on she's like calling Papa and stuff, and it's
that gets severe. But I mean, it's when the fact that it's blurry and it's clearly like it's got some surreality to it, I guess would be the word. And the Borg are like chasing her down the corridor, and they just look just horrible. It really does recall nightmares for me anyway. And I'm like, oh, this is why was I not bothered by this as a 15-year-old when I was first watching it?
Yeah, I don't remember being that scared of it, but watching it back, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, Well, but really effective, and the whole I don't know if I'm skipping ahead. If they showed the Raven, well, they did show the Raven at this one, but the
oh yes, of course.
That's Data's dream all over again.
Well,
which is actually, was that a similar episode? He was seeing the Raven, and it was calling him back to.
I know the episode mean Birthright in series 6 of TNG, but it's been that long since I saw it. All I can remember is that I think it flies out of the little dome thing at the top of the bridge at one point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was cool.
But it is. I mean, but that's what nightmares and dreams are like. And obviously the usage of a Raven is deliberate, since it, to us, it signifies death and horrible soul-wrenching loneliness and stuff, thanks to a certain Mr. Poe. So I think it was a very deliberate choice, because they could have named the ship anything, and I was like, I get exactly why they chose a Raven to be that imagery, because what would you have to represent something literally worse than death, I suppose. So
Yeah.
fair enough. Awesome. So then we hit the credits, and then just after that, we are in a scene in sickbay where Seven is just completely in denial about fearing the Borg, and like, no, I was raised by them. It's fine. And she seems to me to have all the hallmarks of somebody with a kind of PTSD who doesn't want to admit it, which I think there's a lot of in that episode. Which we'll get into more of it later, but there's definitely a lot of that it touches in. Where was I? And then obviously the Doctor, just some exposition, he tells her, meanwhile, it's time to eat. And he doesn't want to inflict Neelix's cooking on her, but he has no choice. So just a sly dig. And
I love this bit.
Which bit is that?
No, I love the Neelix. The Neelix bit. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get there there. The only slight issue I have with this episode is that the exposition of the week, when Janeway delivers it to Seven, is so clunky. It's so clearly like we have to fill the audience in, because it's like Seven's having this deep existential crisis, and then Janeway gets called to the bridge, and she's like, "Oh, the Bomar, we have to try and get through their space, but they're not being very quick." Like, oh, come on, she doesn't care.
Dear. Yeah.
Speaking of which, the next scene obviously just jumps us to the conference room, and man, these Bomars suck, don't they? They are the worst.
They're so they are so petty. No, you can't go that way. We really like that planet. You can't go near it. It smells nice, and we don't.
Officious, snotty little punks. Especially later on when they're like, "Oh no, we said no. Was your translator malfunctioning?" Like, get him out of the room.
And later on, she does cut them off. I love when she just hangs up on someone.
Oh yeah, when they're like, "This will be an act of war," and she just gives it the whole.
Like, we don't have time for this.
Slit the throat symbol, and I don't have time for this. I also love it when she gets to display how much of a badass when they're like, we will do this, we will destroy this Borg, and you will just adhere to our rules. And she just goes, escort them off the ship. Like, it's more controlled than I would have been, but let's go. Speaking of the next scene in the mess hall is probably the scene you were referring to that is quite key to the episode. I did notice in the course of my research that Jerry Ryan struggled filming this scene, because she said she'd been warned about Ethan Phillips and how kind of funny he was, and it was their first interaction. She said that she had to do half the scene looking over his head or looking past him because she had tears rolling down her face just getting through one take.
Brilliant.
I want to see the outtakes from that. What was he doing?
Oh, he's just funny. But he was like patting his belly or something. I don't know. But he's a natural comedian. He's excellent. He's an underrated character, and he's the comic relief, but he's brilliant at it. And I think
he gets a lot. I've never had it. I mean, I know he's quite hated. He's kind of the Wesley Crusher or whatever. The tends to be the focus of fanboy rage, but I never had an issue with him 90% of the time, and he gets some really good episodes. I mean, look at Mortal Coil. And tell me that's just the kind of comic relief character. That's deep, you know.
Oh yeah. No, he's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this scene is so good. So good. But first she's like, "Oh, your species, whatever, and you were assimilated and everything." Really? Okay, that's awkward.
I said, that's kind of the disturbing behavior from 7 of 9. So it already sets you on the back foot, but you're like, he is so patient with her because he probably does rightly think she's not trying to be rude. It's just kind of the only way she knows to relate, I suppose. But again, he's more kind of patient than I would perhaps be when she's like, "We assimilated the freighter of your people. They made great drones," you know. And he's just like, "Well, lucky for you guys, I guess." Then, you know.
I know, but then he just gets on with it, and then he's like really nice to her, you know, helping her eat for the first time ever.
Yeah, I did note as well. Somebody wrote this in one of the errors, but it's such a nitpick. I wasn't going to mention it, but it is just funny to me that Neelix has a full conversation about, "Oh, it's the first time you've eaten, so maybe we'll take it easy and we'll steam it and we won't stir fry it." And then he proceeds to just stir fry it anyway. That's not necessarily an error. That's just something Neelix would do anyway, probably. Just absentmindedly forget.
Silly Neelix.
But yeah, it is adorable when he's like the little shuttlecraft going into the docking.
Oh yeah.
Here
comes the shuttlecraft. Oh.
It is fully worthy of Lower Decks, that one sort of now you chew and then swallow.
Yeah. Like, and she's like, "What the hell is swallow?" You know.
Yeah, he just gives him the eyebrow again.
He makes a big swallowing face, and she's like, "Oh right, okay, I'll try."
She's great. She's great, but I think it really works that Seven of Nine being so adorable and this scene being so funny makes it all
Yeah.
the more jarring when the like
Oh,
Borg implant
yeah.
pops out and she starts behaving like a
Yeah.
Borg in the same scene. I was like, whoa, that I remember at the time being
Yeah.
taken aback by that, and I was like, that really is deliberately like woof. That
Yeah.
escalated quickly.
I know. And I love when people just get to act. I love when actors get to act, and not just say lines that they rehearsed, but to actually like do things like that, total
Definitely.
switch
I
around.
did feel bad for poor Neelix because he was helping her out and she just pushed him over onto the floor. Oh, poor guy.
She totally did. She could have assimilated. That was kind of
True.
close for Neelix. He nearly got assimilated.
Well, as we see later, she probably wouldn't have done because she had the chance to with Tuvok and decided not to. So I don't think she would necessarily have went that far, hopefully.
Well, if she was going to assimilate either of them, it would have been Neelix.
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, because his dense musculature or whatever would have made...
Yeah, you will make an excellent drone.
Exactly. Fair enough. There's a little bit of nonsense with the Bomar anyway, and then we cut to the corridors where there's a little hint of perhaps that initial idea for it when Seven of Nine starts marching like an old Terminator or whatever through the corridors, and she's not flinching as she just deflects shields with deflects bullets or whatever, or phrases with her Borg shields.
And this is sorry, this is again like Data going rogue. Seven's going Data.
Well, there's no such thing as an original idea, especially in the same franchise, I guess.
Yeah, but I love it. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, I love it as well. She looks badass, just not. I mean, to not flinch or whatever. And
she just. Yeah, they're like, she's accessing the armor locker, and she comes around the corner with a big phaser rifle. You're like, yes.
She looks amazing holding that phaser rifle, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Yes.
It awakened something I didn't know was there in me. I was like, I hate guns. What's wrong with me?
Yeah. Oh wait, they can look like that. Yeah, okay. I like them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, even the calm way she's like, force field? Nope, just beam through the force field to the shuttle.
Yep.
And then it's actually a really good special effect when they try to like keep the door shut and she just blasts a shuttle-shaped hole through it and just flies out that way.
Yeah.
I feel bad for whoever has to repair that door now.
It's probably the dots. It's fine. The dots will do it.
Oh my god, there's dots everywhere secretly that we never saw. Oh, what if it was?
Who repairs the hole? The dots. You never see them. You never see them repairing the hole. That's why.
But yeah, just unbelievable the way she was just calmly and measuredly. She took out security officers. She busted through every defense and broke through the door. I mean, I've heard people react badly to Neelix's meals, but that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, that's an overreaction if I've ever heard of one, but yeah. Yeah. The next scene, I have to mention this because I just couldn't, again, speaking of the Bomar and how they got away with so much, they outright called Janeway and the crew incompetent. They question her competence, and I was like, what are these guys? Are they just like,
dare you?
They're like every annoying freaking superior or co-worker you've ever had that's like, no, don't do that. Oh, again, it's nice that Janeway reasserts, hey, you're on my ship, buddy.
Yeah, and then like they were there the whole time, and they're still going, "You've unleashed a rogue Borg," and no, you know what happened. You're just saying that to be annoying.
They questioned the competence that she couldn't deal with it. Yeah, why don't you try and deal with it, Bomar?
Yeah, exactly. It's a rogue Borg. What am I supposed to do?
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, the next scene takes place in Cargo Bay 2, which has obviously been Seven's room for either 2 months or 3 weeks. We don't know. And you probably love the bit about Torres basically ripping it out of Harry for his obvious crush.
Yes, but I also love that they are desperately searching for any clue to where this dangerous Borg may be going. But no, B'Elanna makes a joke and Harry laughs and what are you?
It's totally in character for B'Elanna, though. I mean, she's still doing her job, but she's like, oh yeah, you sounded very interested, Harry, all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, we have a working relationship.
Yeah, exactly. What does that mean? But
I mean,
again,
your relationship works.
Exactly. Again, if I was nitpicky, they do kind of find convenient Borg tech of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And it's not even necessary because it's just log entries, isn't it?
But why was B'Elanna's tricorder making a beep beep sound going, what this is what you're looking for, B'Elanna, it's over here. But she's just like randomly scanning and she, the tricorder is like, over here, you're getting warmer. It's just a random thing,
Knowing B'Elanna, she just typed in diary.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, let's find the nearest, most private thing we can find.
Yeah. Computer, find Seven's diary. We're going to read it.
It's here. But yeah. Which, I mean, basically what it is, it's log entries and stuff, but yeah. It kind of bugs me there's not even a discussion about, like, is it fair to read this? It's like, no, Harry, don't read it.
They're always doing that. They always do that to people.
Yeah.
Nothing
Even Harry
private.
says later on, doesn't he, in like a future scene, he's like, there's lots of references to me in there. I was like, were you looking specifically?
You looked. You typed Harry in the search bar, didn't you?
Harry came in and just, there are 1,000 references, but they're all negative.
Oh, he's
cool.
Yeah.
We briefly get Chakotay remarking that the Bomar have increased their shield strength around their space because they're, as we said, the worst. And him and Janeway get into a turbo lift, and there's a really good kind of argument here. And it's, to me, I liked it because it was an interesting continuation of their debate in Scorpion, which I liked. Which had Chakotay kind of like, we can't work with the Borg, they'll never be trusted. Which again is, in terms of his character, is a nice bit of continuity from what happened to him in the series 3 episode Unity, when he was like betrayed by the Borg Cooperative or whatever they were called. So I was like, see, this is good writing because it brings in stuff that you could know about without having to. It gives them a little chance to kind of bash heads with each other. And it tells you everything about Janeway's character, that she's just like, I refuse to believe that she was interacting for the first time. And I'm not willing to accept that she isn't, that she's just a Borg at her core and she'll never be trusted. So I was like, okay, that's awesome. And again, Kate Mulgrew just plays it in such a way that you can tell she's fully invested. It's played to like, wow, I can sense the emotion here. At least I think, anyways. And
then she comes out with use any force necessary. So, it's still early enough. It's early enough in their relationship that she's like, yeah, we can still kill her if we really need to,
kind of see she was, I mean, it's very subtle, but it's like she didn't want to give that order. It was purely because she was sending Tuvok, who, as we know, is her like number one guy. And it's like, if she's going to be, putting up any kind of force and start killing people, just take her out. We don't have a choice.
Yep.
But, yeah, that's fair enough. Because obviously they have, they get told by the doctor her nanoprobes or whatever are starting to reactivate more, but he has a convenient hypo spray that'll stop them, but someone has to get close. Yeah.
Obviously.
Of course. I mean, it's
there's a hypo spray for everything.
You're not wrong, but again, it's just, you may as well just have them turn up in sick bay and have the doctor go, technobabble, cure. Works for me.
Yep.
So, the other thing that I noticed personally in here is she sends, like, obviously they can't get through the shield, so they have to send a shuttle because, again, in typical Star Trek fashion, that'll work. It's smaller.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll just buy that one. But I was like, how come Janeway didn't go herself if she's so invested in 7 of 9? Like, I get she perhaps wants to watch out for the Bomar, but they're not inside their space, and she's sending 2 of her officers in there.
Like, maybe that would anger them even more if she went. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
It was, again, there's reasons are that she wasn't written to be doing it. That's, the real world reason. But I don't buy that she wouldn't personally be invested enough to go on this mission.
Yeah.
But
they had two. I mean, they had. Well, they needed. No, they needed it to be. They needed it to be Tuvok to give him a chance with 7 because he's strong enough to be able to take on 7. So if Janeway were beamed over, she'd have her knocked out in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I suppose that's where it kind of makes sense because she wouldn't be the one that beamed over. It would be Tuvok who would be with her anyway. So all she'd be doing would be sitting in the shuttle, and she's not as good a pilot as Paris.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fair enough. That makes sense on that logical level. Yeah, why not? Or alternatively, she just doesn't trust Chakotay when there's a chance they're going to be fired on by the Bomar. It's like, I'm not leaving you in command.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Where are we? So then we have 7 of 9 in the shuttle, and again, these visions just so trippy and so nightmarish. It gets really more intense, and we start to see the just random man and woman being dragged off and screaming, and a screaming Borg that makes way to the screaming bird. And I was like, wow, this is, again, how did I not remember this? How was I not having nightmares about this for weeks afterwards,
Yeah, it was pretty freaky.
It's very, very intense, but the Bomar, being the worst, just decide they're going to try and attack 7 shuttle, which is pretty silly. Because, Steven just stomps the whole lot of them like a dance floor during a line dancing class. Just completely takes them out. And
Yep.
but I did note, again, it's such a nitpick, but I did note that this guy, this Bomar, who's apparently in a ship taking her down, was clearly just filmed against the Voyager wall in the conference room, because it's super zoomed in and it just looks like the same wall. I was like, to be fair, why would they build a set for a ship for no reason? But it just,
Oh, yeah.
it always struck me, for me, the moment I first watched it, I was like, is he back on Voyager? What's going on? So yeah, Shuttle 2, which is the one with Paris and Tuvok, detects the fight, but notes that there's no casualties, because 7 of 9's been watching the A-Team, apparently. Zap and kill as many people, or supposedly kill as many people, and they'll just walk away. So there we go. Tuvok has to beam in because it's the only way he can get close to her, but she basically uses Uno reverse to give him the Vulcan neck pinch. So
Uno reverse, yeah. I love that. But, right, okay. So how does she know a Vulcan neck pinch? Is it because...
But the Borg would know it, wouldn't they? Because they'd have assimilated the knowledge from any Vulcan. There.
Okay, so if they have assimilated the Vulcans, then why does she say, your species, blah, 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 your distinctiveness will be added? And she stopped herself. But she's already saying that...
She's referring to him as an individual person will be added. I don't think she's referring to Vulcan.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
In my head, it was that she was meaning you personally will be added because you're a great example of this species. Or alternatively, the writers just didn't realize.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I love when other people use Vulcan neck pinch. I love it.
It happens entirely too often because I know Data definitely was able to use
Data,
it as well.
Picard did it, and the Doctor did it, I think.
Okay, fair enough.
But it was always a great reason that they knew it. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I just like the idea of where it came from as well, that Leonard Nimoy was just like, Spock would not be doing Kung Fu and rubbish. He would do something that would just immediately... And I was like, yes, to be fair, he's right. So why not?
Yeah. Well, apart from that whole Vulcan martial art that they're supposed to know.
Yeah, well, I know. But, I mean, in terms of the character, though, it would look silly if he was giving everyone the Kirk double-handed punch and stuff instead of just like, nope, go down. But, awesome. I love this next scene, which is the conversation between Seven and Tuvok, when she's basically, as I touched on earlier, she's like, I want to simulate you. I want you to go back and thank Janeway for all she's done. And he sort of says, what you're displaying here is affection and sentiment, traits of humanity, hardly Borg. And I was like, yes, we're cracking the mystery, and we're also getting a bit of character here for both of them, because I think this is the first time that Tuvok and Seven had interacted as well. So there's a great little... introduction to their relationship and how he doesn't regard her as a security threat, even though he's a security officer. He's very, I think it's quite a good development of his character, because I can't imagine first season Tuvok being this kind of compassionate, I guess, in a way, and sort of listening to her and wanting to go with her to the surface to find out what's happening. So
yes, but I also must say that I ship Seven and Tuvok because they totally get each other. They totally get each other.
Well, they have now both been fully assimilated by the Borg, so...
Yes.
So, yeah. The only other note I've made here is that Jerry Ryan is just outstanding, playing the kind of the fear and wrestling with that versus whatever this Borg urge is, and her level of curiosity for what's happening. So I completely buy... I mean, it's in the dialogue, but I totally buy it when she's like, I'm terrified, I'm afraid of what's going to happen. And Tuvok tells her, well, you don't have to do this. And she says, no, once I'm back in the collective, the fear will go. And I'm like, you can sense the actual pull and the struggle, which is not an easy thing to play for an actor, because you're playing like 2 or 3 emotions at once. So I think she's great in it.
She took off with that character. She's brilliant, and I often look at her and T'Pol, and they were cast for obvious reasons, and I just love that they took those characters and made them so amazing and.
Yeah, they weren't cast because they were great actors, but conveniently and thankfully they were both great actors.
They absolutely were. And I think T'Pol is also an underrated Vulcan. I think she is a top tier Vulcan, and she's one of my favorites as well. So
didn't love the series 3 plot, the whole kind of she's got emotions because she's a heroin addict or whatever they're trying to do with that, but
right.
Three of my friends had some weird moments. Let's be fair.
Totally weird.
Anyway, off topic, but we head back to the Voyager. To the cargo bay where Janeway is doing her best FBI profile getting into her head a bit by just pretending to regenerate it, Alco. And this is when we get Harry obviously coming back and talking about how he's read the logs looking for a reference to him. Yeah. But this is obviously, you've said it's awesome when we get the final reveal, because he's like, there's this bird that she keeps mentioning in her dreams. And again, Kate Mulgrew plays it really well, but when she's like, it sounds like a member of the Corvid family, like a crow or a raven. He was describing a raven. Why is that important? Now I know what to look for. Like, that's an awesome kind of eureka moment. And she's still ahead of the audience. Yay.
Yeah. Janeway was just kind of left instead of going, oh, Harry, that's the coincidence because Seven's ship was called the Raven, and now we know what to look for. She just kind of stormed off. They just must think Janeway is absolutely nuts because she keeps just leaving.
Time is of the essence. She hasn't got
trailing, trailing off.
She's not one for clarity of orders, because then she marches onto the bridge and says, "Look for any Federation signature other than our two shuttles, Captain. Just do it."
I know. Chakotay's like, Captain, just do it. Maybe if you explained everything while they're scanning,
Exactly,
it's mysterious.
But it keeps the pace going, I suppose, so we forgive it.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and again, I do like that she's ahead of the audience, because we don't know what the significance of a Raven is yet either. But it gives you a great moment when we do find that out, so that's cool.
It's good.
So Seven shuttle has landed on this moon, which is incidentally the same location they used in Basics. Which once I read that, I was like, oh, now that's all I'm going to be able to see, because it clearly is, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I assumed it was just Planet Hell.
Probably. Exactly, yeah.
Just redressed.
To be fair, it probably is. I didn't look deep enough into it, but I know there's a lot of CGI enhancements and stuff to make it look like a bigger vista or whatever. But
and I do have another nitpick, and I know that, they don't do this much in Star Trek, but it's always a coincidence that something has crashed on an M-class moon or an M-class planet.
Yes, exactly.
They never bother with EVA suits or anything. Like, they just beam down and they just trust their sensors that there's oxygen. Shouldn't they at least just put on some kind of a helmet or a breathing device just in case? Just in case there's any kind of weird gas.
It's always like an uninhabited moon as well. It's not like, oh, this partially assimilated ship just crashed into someone's house and killed 3 people.
Yeah,
no, that's fine. Just a cliff.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll let that go.
No, it is. It's speaking of that though. It's fantastic character work. I think when Seven is so uncertain and Tuvok is like so compassionate about like, I'll go with you. No, you'll be assimilated. No, I don't think I will. There's more going on here. So obviously they discover the partially assimilated Raven, which we don't get much of it. Just like a crumbly sort of front section that we see, but inside the Raven, the visions become really extreme. And it's very kind of emotional and affecting when you see the horror of young Annika's abduction.
Yeah.
She's heartbreaking, Jerry, when she whispers "Papa."
Yeah.
As you mentioned, when she's like, "Papa," and then the way that she completely regresses to a 6-year-old when she's explaining what happened to Tuvok.
Yeah.
So good. I wish I could act anything as well as she did that. But the way she's like,
she's amazing.
It was my birthday and there were 5 candles and one to grow on, and then the men came and I was like, oh, she's breaking my absolute heart in this scene, but it's so good. And then the fact that she caps that off by literally lapsing at the end of that sort of whole paragraph explanation into "then I became Borg," and then just complete stony faced and matter of fact about it again, and I was like, oh, that would be kind of how it happened as well.
The fact that she remembered that first she was really scared and the men came, and then she was Borg, and she remembered the next thing that happened was she was Borg. So she probably just instantly got the collective voice in her head and everything was clear and everything, she probably remembers the exact second,
That's what I mean. It's so almost more jarring that it's like she's not emotionally affected. It's like, oh, it's horrible. The men came. Then I was Borg. Everything was calm. And it was like, oh, that's so chilling. It's like, I don't think it would be better that she was traumatized, I suppose. For longer, but
and in a way, they being assimilated helped her by not, she wasn't scared anymore. She felt part of something, and she was instantly not a scared kid anymore. But it's, it's kind of did her a favor, but
not something
not
we'd
really
recommend.
Weird Borg therapy.
Kids don't just shut off your emotions if you're dealing with trauma. It's never good. Anyway, there is a quick scene of them turning off whatever this signal is that's been guiding Seven inside of the Raven, because that turns out to have been the reason for the implants popping out and her signal being led there. The Bomar decide they're going to just fire on this uninhabited moon where the ship is, because come on, these guys, honestly. But Tuvok and Seven do their best Dukes of Hazzard to escape from whatever little opening they make in the shuttle, and they head back.
The pieces of debris are the spongiest I've ever seen. They're just bouncing around the place.
Seven, help me! We must get rid of these convenient-looking rocks and metal girders that bend when we touch them.
Effort noises, but it's just bouncing. That's good acting. If you can make that look heavy, that's good acting.
Definitely, 100%. But I do love. This is a story kind of praise, I guess. But I love that after Voyager's been shortcutting its way for the last few episodes, I love that basically the Bomar are just like having none of it. And Janeway's like, once the shuttle gets on board, just take us the long way. We're not going to have any shortcuts this time. And I was like, that's a really brave decision by the writers, because, like I said, they've been like, we've just jumped 10,000 years because of Kess, and we've broken off another for this shortcut and stuff. And I was like, it wouldn't be like that realistically. There would be times when you'd be like, nope, that shortcut's not going to work. So,
not today.
Exactly, yeah. So awesome. So just to finish the episode, then we head back to the same holodeck program, and 7 of 9 is mentioning to Janeway that her imagination is kind of alive and well now, when she's considering the possibilities of what would her and her parents' lives have been like if they hadn't been assimilated by the Borg. And Janeway points out that she could discover it for herself because they found her parents' logs and they are there for her to read anytime. And 7 says she might one day, but it'll probably be during that cool 2-parter in season 5, so she'll have to wait. And,
I will someday. When we've run out of story ideas, I'll do that.
Next time we hit sweeps and we have to have a big Borg 2-parter, I'll read them then. But yeah, it does make me want to watch Dark Frontier though, because as I said, it ties in so well to this from my memory of it. So it does make me want to. But yeah, just 7 of 9 developing into that level of now she's just beginning to imagine possibilities, and she's listening to Janeway's mentorship, and it's such a great way to end it, that there's some humanity there, so that this trauma wasn't for nothing, I guess. And there we go. So any last thoughts before I hit the next kind of piece of the review then?
No, that's my thoughts. It's just great. I love this episode, and I'm awesome. Thank you for giving me the choice of this one, because
that's okay. I mean, it fit the theme.
I love it. Yeah, awesome. It could have been one that I absolutely hate, and I just rant for the whole time.
I've done that for a couple of weeks of the last few, because it wouldn't be fair for me to just pick things that I love. So, as people will have heard by now, I wasn't a fan of Unimatrix Zero or the Picard episode Stardust City Rag. But we shall see if I think this one was better. Spoiler alert. But so what I've been doing, if you haven't been listening then this season, is just for a little bit of extra flavor at the end of the review. I have been asking my guests for their favorite character, scene, and line of dialogue from the episode. I know it's very on the spot because I haven't told you about this in advance, but if you had to name those, what would you say? Favorite character, first of all.
Am I allowed to say 7?
That's exactly what I've said.
7. I'll go with 7.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I said the same, 7/Annika, because of course the writing and the acting makes you invested and makes you really care. So for all the reasons we've said, she acts it really well, and it's all about her. So of course. So what's your favorite scene of the episode?
It would be definitely the mess hall. Neelix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I know it's not in the character of the episode, in
but it is
in general, but it's
I can totally respect that. I said that my favorite was the literal and emotional payoff on the Raven when she reveals what happened, and it all kind of comes together. But you're not wrong. That mess hall scene was something I definitely should have given more consideration to, because it is great. So I mean, comedy's harder to do a lot of times than drama, isn't it? So respect to that. And what did you have a favorite line in the episode?
I did. Now I wasn't prepared, but
verbatim. But
in the shuttlecraft, Tuvok asks her why she's doing something, and her reply is, "I am Borg," and that was it. Like, she just, and it's like, I am Groot.
Oh,
Just
now I'm not going to be able to ever hear that line without thinking of that.
It's just, it means nothing and it means everything. I am bored.
Yeah, it's great when they do that when it's in Scorpion Part 2 when no, your weapons lack the range and cohesive range. I suppose you have a better idea. We are Borg. And Tuvok's like, naturally.
Yep, not a yes or a no, it's just a fact.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I've written my line down because I wanted to give it the full respect it was due. So
Mhm.
mine is by 7 of 9, but it is, no, I will not assimilate you. Once I return to the collective, you will go back to Voyager and tell Captain Janeway what's happened to me. Thank her for her patience, for her kindness. I was like, oh,
Aw.
that's such a perfect summation of the episode as well. Like, I'm being dragged away by these robot cyborg things, but there's such humanity in there that she does. And it was such a huge moment because at the time she was like, no, stop doing this to me. I want to go back to the Borg. And this was the first time that she was like, no, I note that you are being very patient and very kind. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what we need more of.
And that was because I've keep comparing this to Data going rogue, and he's just completely, automaton. But she's like that to begin with, but then she turns around and she's, I know I'm being kind of bold here, and I'm but just tell Janeway, I'm sorry, thanks for everything, instead of just being a Terminator and just heading straight there, and
exactly. Oh, it's so sweet.
Right.
And so the very next section, as you may well remember from last season, which is my just middle finger to all the people that's like, it's not real Star Trek after the abandonment of Jean's vision. So it's a section that I call Jean's vision. Excuse me. So with this episode specifically in mind, do you have anything that you think from here that fits into what might be categorized as the great Jean's vision ideology of Star Trek?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the Janeway giving Seven a chance, trying to get her, well, not trying to get her humanity back, but helping her,
acknowledging
helping
that
her.
it's there as well, refusing to acknowledge that it's not as well. So
yeah. So I think that would sum it up. And let me just think what else happened in the episode that would. The rest. Yeah, so the rest is kind of along the same lines. So
it's all
just like
in service to that idea, isn't it? So
yeah.
I said the same thing basically. Tuvok's compassion, Janeway's support, Seven's genuine seeming gratitude, and it being all about her humanity, which is basically a long-winded way of saying exactly what you did. It's all about that sort of story, but also the way that it uses sci-fi to examine a deep issue. So it's using the kind of Borg as a lens here for PTSD and childhood trauma, which you could not necessarily notice, and maybe I'm just sort of seeing stuff that isn't there and being long-winded, but I think it's a little bit of that, So.
Yeah, agree.
Cool. So, so then just to finish off the episode review, I will get to the audience response afterwards, but the next bit would be the conclusion and your score out of 5 Starfleet Deltas. So, do you want to go first and give me yours?
My score out of 5?
Well, your conclusion, if you have one, just like in the last thought.
Oh, my conclusion.
Score out of 5.
I loved it that it was a 7 development episode. I kind of half disagree that they were trying to move too fast with her.
I do too,
yeah. And I also think, like, if she had done this without the whole homing beacon thing and she was just trying to get back to the Borg, I don't think that would have been in character.
No.
But per episode 6, I think she's moving on. So it was good. Like, it was kind of like a bump in the road for her to move past being a Borg. And suddenly, oh crap, I want to go back, but she didn't really want to go back. So and out of 5, I will give it a 5.
Awesome. Fair enough. Apologies if my conclusion's a bit long-winded, but I just had a lot of thoughts that I wanted to get down. So I just said, I think this is a fantastic example of a character study that remains compelling, affecting, and never boring. The Borg as sci-fi allegory for PTSD are treated with the kind of respect and presence that requires, with the hallucination scenes particularly being exceptionally portrayed and perfectly nightmarish. Likewise, the performances throughout are flawless, but none are more effective than Jeri Ryan, especially when she regresses to childhood trauma at the episode's end and the weight that brings to it. It's commendable this episode adds depth and backstory to this new crew member, and it's completely in service of character and story, not cheap in any way or exploitative for easy effect. I didn't even mind the aliens of the week, though they are the weakest thing here, since their function as annoying obstacles is well defined and played in such a way that we do find them irritating. They also provide the wonderfully subversive ending, which is brave enough not to give our heroes another win, because everything is very real in this episode, including consequences. I think there's expert direction, enough action to keep you entertained, and a compelling, well-written mystery. But the episode really soars, no pun intended, when its emotional core is revealed, investing you in the characters and making you care. Tightly plotted, fantastically scripted, exceptionally acted, premium Star Trek, in my opinion. I also gave it 5 out of 5.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm going to have to grab a calculator to work out this average, aren't I? So hang on, 5 out of 5. Oh, yeah, the average would be, the overall score for the podcast would be 5 out of 5.
No way.
And a perfect score. Only the 3rd episode, I believe, to ever get the coveted perfect score. Thoroughly deserved. Happy with that.
Yeah. And it's not even the best episode of Voyager, and it's still 5 out of 5. I don't know that that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
No, I couldn't. There's no way I could take a point for anything. So
no, exactly. It's just great at what it does. I mean, it's not flashy and it's not like action packed or whatever, but it's great at what it does, and it does it well. So awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to move us into the next section then, which is basically the audience interaction, or as I like to call it, just to be geeky, subspace communication.
Incoming transmission.
Excuse me. I do have some things from social media, but there wasn't a lot. So this was a weird one because I was able to find a ton of audience interaction from more famous sources. So bear with me as I go through them. I just thought it was interesting because some episodes I find nothing about, and some it's been rated by like 1 million publications. So Cine Fantastique rated this episode 3 out of 4 stars. Star Trek Magazine scored the episode 4 out of 5 stars. The unauthorized reference book Delta Quadrant gave it 6 out of 10. Harsh. Huh. I know, right? Writer James Swallow once referred to this episode as excellent. Jerry Ryan said that The Raven is one of her favorite episodes, along with Revulsion, Hunters, Prey, and The Killing Game. Ian Gray at rogerebert.com noted that The Raven offered a metaphor-rich engagement with childhood violence and memory. They point out Seven's story as an example of child abuse survival, which they suggest can be an inspiration to audiences that had childhood trauma. Fair enough. In 2014, IO9 rated The Raven as the 75th best episode of any Star Trek and stated it was one of the best episodes about 7 of 9. Fair enough. Yeah. In 2016, Sci-Fi Wire ranked it the 11th best episode out of the 22 episodes Brian Fuller wrote for Star Trek, remarking this examination of Seven's origins and trauma is a little slow, but what it lacks in pacing, it more than sufficiently makes up for in character building, with great performances from the cast, especially Jerry Ryan. They also recommended the episode for their 7 of 9 binge watch guide in 2019. Likewise, in 2020, Bustle recommended this as one of 7 episodes to watch as background for Picard, saying it was good for 7 of 9's background. And in 2020, Gizmodo listed this episode as one of the must-watch episodes from season 4 of Voyager. So, fairly positive, I would say, overall.
Yeah, except that's 6 out of 10. What the hell was that?
I know, right? That was shocking. Completely shocking. But
yep.
So yeah, let me just go. I only have one thing from the audience interactions. I thought I had a little more, but I guess not. And it's from Adrienne, who's guested on the podcast at least a couple of times now, or at AL Park Tucker 2, who said, I loved learning Seven's backstory. Number 1, she sounded like Annika when she said, I don't know, after she froze staring at Leonardo's wings. And number 2, Tim Russ is the perfect surrogate father to her as she's cowering on the Raven. And number 3, Janeway is a great mentor. So, and then she just says, I heart Tim Russ. Poor guy.
I think, I heart Tim Russ.
Him in that as well. Poor guy, indeed. But awesome. So that will conclude our thoughts then on The Raven. And suffice to say, we both thought it was a bit lacking. Could have. No, I'm kidding. That was an awesome conversation. Thanks so much for joining me again, Linda, for this series.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Hopefully you've had a good time.
Yeah, always have a good time talking about Star Trek, especially 7 of 9.
Of course. Great. So this is your chance then to plug your social medias or any other podcasts or anything you're working on, if you like.
I'm not really doing much at the moment, but you can find me at Hen in a Hat 1 on Twitter and Hen in a Hat on Instagram. And I have a YouTube channel as well, Hen in a Hat.
Grand. And you do have an Etsy store and things, as well, yeah?
Yeah, you'll find links if you follow my instructions that I just gave you.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. It's some great looking stuff. So.
I'm usually head in a hat. Just type it head in a hat. You'll Google me. I don't know. I'll pop up somewhere.
But if you are getting in contact with Linda, no Discovery season 4 spoilers. Okay.
No, you will be blocked and airlocked.
Exactly. So no, this was a really good episode, if I do say so. So I've had a really good time. You can find me, of course, at Iron Mike Wilson on Twitter, or my name most of the places. The podcast is at HoM Trek or HoM Trek. Where you can find links to all of our episodes and things. And this series, I think, has been going very interestingly. We've had a good mix of episodes, and they've all kind of fit the theme quite well. So next week, we're moving away from the Borg again into another very famous AI who may have come up a couple of times this episode. I'm going to be reviewing the episode The Measure of a Man. And I'm going to be joined by... I may be joined by a couple of guests. I've had some interest by a couple of people, but I definitely will be joined by, I think, Captain Janey, who's agreed to come on. So look out for that one. And thanks again, Linda. Really, really do appreciate you taking the time to join us here at Talk Trek.
And, no problem. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And in the meantime, viewers and listeners, remember, we are Starfleet. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.